Hey y'all, welcome back to part two of One-on-One with Courtney Stark. So for those of you who know, I was joined with and am joined with Miss Nola Baylor, who is a registered nurse and a grief recovery coach. One of the things she gave me the opportunity to do was allow me the permission to tell my story. This whole time, y'all, was like fighting back tears because I'm just that way. I can't help it. But I'm thankful that you guys have been on this ride with us. I just want to continue the conversation. If you guys have any questions and whatever, please ask. This is the time for it. Let me just get Miss Nola back in. Thank you for rejoining me.
You're welcome. Courtney, I looked back at that question. I think the young lady may have been asking too when I looked at it, because we, always have different translations. I think she may have been asking too, how do I support someone who is a family member that is also dealing with grief and maybe thinking about how that may impact her. I just want to say to her to embrace your grief, whatever emotions you're having. Don't tell yourself that you shouldn't be having those emotions, but really visit those emotions, find a safe person that you can talk to about the way you're feeling, and really let those emotions come out and not to be buried in. I think that's so important. I think that's what you and I were able to do, is I gave you a place to say, you know what, Courtney, we're not going to ignore the fact that, I understand mom, I understand dad, but we've got to talk about what you've been sharing about. So I think just having a person that allows you to share and share objectively is important.
Yeah. And like I was just saying earlier, it was hard. Even up until this moment, I'm like, oh, how am I going to get through this? How am I going to get through this? Like I was telling you, being the strong one has been my mask for so long.
Yeah.
Fear of being vulnerable, fear of opening up and getting hurt or being rejected or being told no, and not putting a name to it. Just saying, you know what, I got to be strong because I got to be strong. You know what I mean?
See, you know what? Here's the thing. If we're honest, we have to talk about stigma within our community. That is what we're taught to do. We're taught to be strong, to keep moving forward. Don't cry. Don't worry about it. Just keep pushing through. Now, what we're telling someone to do is continue to compress pain and allow it to build up to anger and to shock and to just behaviors that we can't really justify. So that's where we get into a real danger zone when we tell people things like time will heal, be strong. All those things are rationalizing our pain and giving us every reason not to face them, because for some reason society has told us that when we say, we have emotions or we're hurting, we're perceived as weak. No, that is really healthy when we allow those emotions to formulate and then we begin to process how we are feeling. So, I just want to say that.
One of the questions that I had asked you even previously was, how is it, why is it, shall I rather, important to do these things, like going back to those times? You know what I mean? Like, a lot of us we're in our 30s now,
Wow.
So for us to be told, hey, you have to go back. A lot of us don't want to go back there because that little girl or that young man had been buried like beneath 6 feet, beneath the sand, beneath the dirt. And now we're being told we got to dig them up and deal with that hurt. Why do you feel like it's so important to do so?
Courtney, I really appreciate you bringing me on as a registered nurse, as a grief recovery specialist. But because I love what I do and I'm here to heal hearts, right? Like when we talk, I say, let's talk from the heart, not from the head.
Yeah.
I believe that the question that you're asking me, I want to pull it back to you and say, Courtney, why was it important? Because I can tell you as a recovery specialist why. I can tell you from a nursing aspect why. And I will, but I want you to answer that question. Courtney, why was it important for you to go back. Because let me say, everyone, please know, when Courtney and I were talking, he wanted to talk about everything but that one thing. And I said, there's no way I'm going forward if we're not talking about that one thing. So tell me why it was important for you to go back to that and not deal with the obvious loss of a death of a family member. Tell me why it's important.
You know, I think for me, I think I was telling you last week or before last, for me, you know, in part of growth, we spend so much time wanting to work on all these other areas, spiritual, mental, physical, and we are broken deep down inside. And what happens is when we don't go back and we don't take care of that, then those traits follow us for years and years to come. And then all that does is allow us to be broken for our generation. So like our son or our daughter now has to live in a life where they're being told these toxic traits because no one's going back to do the work. You know what I mean? And to like deal with, sometimes you have to go to deal with the hurt in order to be able to tell a story. You know what I'm saying? And you can't, for me, now that I've kind of been able to speak to you, if I had not gone back and dealt with this and kind of been able to tell you my story, I would be telling a lie because I've never gotten over what I was going through. I built the bridge and got over it, but I built those blocks up and I was able to say things and be told things that was like, you know, this minuscule in that moment to get me through. You know what I mean? And every time they reoccurred, I'm like, okay, well, here we go. I'm building it back up and I'll get over it again. But how much more building could you do before you explode or before you end up lost, you know?
That's so perfect. It just makes me so happy to hear you and just to see you on the other. So yeah, so that to me, that's the standout. But for the reason why it's important is because when we don't deal with our grief, it begins to deal with us. Like he said, we carry it on to the next generation, and then we'll also begin to manifest it physically. And that's when it can become a problem. You know, hypertension, different types of heart diseases can manifest just from unhealthy and unprocessed emotions. So,
yeah.
Like,
and
so you know what? That's all the time that I have. But if anyone has any questions, you guys can contact me. You know, on Instagram, you can just hit me a DM, and you can check out my website at nolabaylor.com. And yeah, I really have appreciated this time with you, Courtney.
Oh, thank you from the bottom of my heart. Oh my God.
All right, sweetheart, I love you.
I love you too. Thank you so much.
Take care. Thank you all.
All right. I hope you guys all enjoyed Nola Baylor. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to share my story. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to be vulnerable. It's not easy. And every day on this journey isn't going to be easy. But having people in your life who genuinely care for you, having people in your life who genuinely are praying for you and genuinely are there to have these hard discussions with you will give you the opportunity to start the process. Even though it's never going to be easy, you get the opportunity to start it. So I'm forever thankful and grateful to have met Miss Nola Baylor, to get the opportunity to have somebody pour life into me and pour something into me that I didn't even know or I chose not to think existed. So we're back at 9, actually, not at 8 this time. 9 o'clock with our second guest. He's a Catholic hip hop artist. He's a father. He's a husband. He's a well-known youth minister. And I look forward to talking to him. Brandon Morrell joins us later. And then we have one more show tomorrow, y'all. I am like, it's bittersweet. It's bittersweet. We've been on this ride all summer. And like I was saying to you guys earlier, you know, sometimes you plan things because you want to be in control of your life. And God is like, go backseat. Get us here. Because we are not in control of our lives. You know, that is not our job. Our job is to allow God to truly take the wheel, to truly steer, to truly direct, and we just sit on the passenger side and allow him the opportunity to be God. I thank you so much for watching. I thank you so much for tuning in and supporting. I'm back later, so be sure to tune in. Miss Nola Baylor, I love you. Thank you so much. I love y'all. Have a good one.